learned that he needed to communicate with people on both coasts. Email was convenient for that, as well as keeping up with his family and friends. And really, up until 2001, he had communicated with his agent exclusively through phone calls and mailed letters and occasional in-person meetings. So as I mentioned, by 1994, most college campuses had system-wide email, including ISU. But it was still relatively easy for a stubborn professor to shrug it off, at least until the turn of the century or so in 2000, 2001. In Tense Present, as you can read here, which came out in 2001, he wrote, "You don't, after all, despite withering cultural pressure, have to use a computer." But today, any professor shunning email or computers entirely in 2014 is a stuff of legend. Going back to 1988, Wallace told Stephen Moore that he was shitty at computers. His initial forays into electronic publishing and word processing in general just made him feel old. He preferred the comforts of paper. In fact, computers and technology in general were a cause of frustration in his life and work. It could derail him from work. And to me, this hand annotating a printout of an email is like something my grandmother would do and mail it to me. Here's your email back. As I mentioned earlier, in 1999, Wallace accepted the assignment to write a story about John McCain in the 2000 presidential primary in South Carolina. And his turnaround time on that piece was very tight. So that experience led him to try out email around his next editing experience, which was with the math book. By spring of 2000, he did not have a modem. It was not until 2001 that he would have a modem at home, which he had a love-hate relationship with and treated it the way he treated his TV, which he often threw out or discarded entirely. And as I mentioned earlier at lunch, he did not want to see more ads. He was afraid that if he went online, he would just be bombarded with more ads intentionally. Why would you choose to do that? It didn't make sense. As a cause of frustration in his life, even the technology of the typewriter. Here, you can say, typewriter meltdown, and then you had to finish the letter again. So it wasn't email computers that were exclusively technological frustration.